RagnaroK has been able to take out Dark a couple of times in the past. So I really think that this is going to be a best of 3 where anything can happen, and we are going to be loading on in to Ancient Cistern, where we're here in the bottom left-hand quarter of the map, swatting all the way in this bottom left-hand quarter. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing CranKy Z Gaming, DKG. We have Dark.
And in the top right corner of Ancient Cistern, we have our blue Zerg player, also from Korea, representing Alpha X. It is RagnaroK.
When the brain meets the brawn.
And both going hard first.
Yeah, look at that. They really do practice with each other so much that they start to pick at each other's build.
What is this?
Isms.
Is this a ZvZ? We have Hatch Gas Pool on both sides?
Huh?
Exactly the same position?
Huh? So
They-
trusting.
They are actually totally mirroring each other. It's quite funny.
This is the ultimate ZvZ. It's either the ultimate ZvZ or it's the anti-ZvZ.
I mean, I'm used to ZvZ being a knife fight, but I guess not this time. Although that can change very quickly.
Yeah, you never know if somebody's just whips out a knife from their pocket, you know? They're both mirroring each other for now. They are both agreeing to the terms of not being aggressive in the early game, but you never know. Sometimes you might just get shanked.
Echo, Dark is making 2 links.
It's 2 lings! And RagnaroK is only now making 2 lings! He
They're-
delayed it!
They're so delayed by like 5 seconds.
I don't know how RagnaroK's gonna be able to recover!
I think they're gonna be out by the time Dark's links reach the base.
But by the time they reach the base...
Ooh, but Dark taking his 3rd base quite more early than RagnaroK.
Yeah, this seems to be our first major deviation. And by major deviation, I don't mean just in terms of, oh yeah, it was delayed. Never mind, because RagnaroK also goes for the 3rd base. But he grabs a safety Baneling Nest.
Yeah, and it does not look like Dark wants to take on that. No, he also takes. They are perfect mirrors.
Yeah. Like, sure, some lings popped out later than others. Sure, a 3rd base got thrown down a little bit later than others, but they make up for that by reversing the Baneling timing. A lot more lings are coming out from RagnaroK now, though. A lot more lings are coming out from RagnaroK, though. I thought this was a safety Baneling Nest. I was a fool.
I mean, that kind of falls into what RagnaroK has been playing today all day. Like, he just presses the Z key and he does not stop the aggression. Like, he may be changing, like, compositions and such, but he never, like, lets go.
And here I was thinking Dark would be the more aggressive player of the 2. I thought wrong. Although he is getting a lot of links himself. Thankfully for Dark, he didn't neglect that Baneling Nest earlier on.
Yeah, the Banelings are about to be ready, so the links of RagnaroK have to go away, but now we go into Link Bane Wars.
My favorite. This is that knife fight we were talking about, Kuro, where at any point in the ZvZ, somebody could just whip out a sword and start chopping.
What?
If somebody could just sharpen the stick. Start stabbing.
But unfortunately we won't be staying here for long, as RagnaroK is already transitioning into his Roach Warren.
Yeah, a little
And
bit
so is
more
Dark.
stable at this point. This is the point where, this is the point of the knife fight where our players realize, wait a minute, let me invent the shield.
Uh-huh.
To
I
have
just
a little
find
bit
it
of protection
funny
against
how
knives.
perfectly they mirror each other. How they go for exactly the same place. Just not the same timings, but the same place.
Yeah. And it's not like one player is necessarily faster than the other. It's just that they're faster in some respects, but we'll see which player is more successful because RagnaroK just lost 6 drones and doesn't have really much to counterattack with. Dark, he's already remaking his links back home. He's already remaking a couple of safety banes. Roach Run finished up for Dark a little bit quicker, and because he didn't lose as much earlier on, he is able to get a couple of roaches. Now, I say that, but RagnaroK surprisingly able to catch back up in the work account very, very quickly. Overtake Dark in the work account even.
Yeah, it looks like. And RagnaroK will have this upgrade a little bit quicker, just a little though. So I guess once again we're quite decently even.
The mirror is back. They're looking at each other and they can't even tell who's who. Dark, of course, trying to do Dark things, just trying to poke and prod and see if he can recreate the success he had earlier on to wipe out a mineral line or two. A couple of banelings are being made, and his lings are being sent forward to act as a bit of a distraction. He gets a full surround on top of the army of RagnaroK, and he is able to take out a couple of these. Oh, almost able to take out a couple of these roaches, but the safety banes of RagnaroK will save the day.
I mean, there were some losses on the side of RagnaroK. Also, RagnaroK has to split his forces between these two fronts as Dark keeps attacking at both sides at the same time. Also, taking his 4th base.
Yeah, this is, I think, going to be our first major divergence in this game. If you really want to nitpick, you know, there were a couple of differences here and there, but this is our first major divergent in this game. Dark is, or at least he was, fully well aware that he had the map control, so he was feeling confident enough to just tech up and grab his base, but now, not so much. RagnaroK moving across the map with a larger army supply, as he also takes a 4th base later then.
Yeah, just a bit later, but you know, they have to continue the mirror, they have to do the same things.
Yeah. Simon Says coming out here. ZvZ actually stands for Simon VZs.
Is that an accident or is this intentional?
Even if it was an accident, you know, you might as well use it, as RagnaroK builds a drop alert. He starts to move it across the map. Pneumatize Carapace seems a little bit late for this, I'm not gonna lie, but he is getting it, so he should be able to hit at roughly a similar timing. But Dark, with his changeling, is able to scout this. He knows that RagnaroK is going for a huge push across the map, and this is our first major divergent in this game.
I'm just following this overlord, this is all.
Yeah. And zooming. The banelings are zooming. So it is just going to be more of a harass, actually. Not sure if Dark was able to catch that banelings were loaded up in
there's a bit of a problem.
In that drop lord, but
Dark has grabbed Hydra then?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not quite. Not quite what you want against Ling Bane Roach, especially banelings and especially roaches. But if he can survive long enough to turn them into lurkers, then it could pay off for him.
That's one thing, but also he can snipe this over from the sky if he desires to. But it looks like he won't need to, because this queen will deter. Oh, but actually it goes into the mineral line.
And the drones are stacking up. The drones are stacking up. Only one baneling will pop out, however, and that is not enough to kill drones. Meanwhile, RagnaroK was using that as a bit of a distraction. He does push forward in the western side of this map, but Dark has more than enough to chase this back. He's now fighting in the high ground. He has a much better surround, and he was able to land his biles much quicker than RagnaroK was. Thankfully, RagnaroK did research Tunneling Claws, so he is able to back out without losing even more of his forces.
Yeah, but there are overseers there for Dark, so these fights will not be easy for RagnaroK still, and he's trying to attack on both fronts.
And it could pay off. I mean, he is distracting the majority of Dark's army to move out into the middle of the map. The Tunneling Claw roaches pop out in the natural base, but unfortunately for RagnaroK, there were reinforcements on the way. Once again, RagnaroK's harass just doesn't really get any damage done. He's kinda... No, I was gonna say he's kinda breaking through here in the 4th base location, but no, he's not. Dark had a much better surround and a much better concave.
Yeah, like the burrowed roaches were distracting Dark a little bit, but not enough to actually cause the damage, and there was detection everywhere, so they were dealt with fairly easily. But now, Dark decides it's his time for offensive.
Yeah, he's had enough. He has had enough. He is going for a counterattack. He is going to put RagnaroK in his place, so to speak. You think you can tunnel and clot roach me? I'll show you what's what. But now it's RagnaroK's time to actually have the defender's advantage. He is landing a couple of biles, but not as many as Dark is. Dark still is up on army supply. He is still sending his roaches across the map. He can afford to send his roaches across the map and also get a lurker den just in case. Biles are starting to be dodged right now for Dark. RagnaroK's reinforcements are starting to make a little bit of a difference here, but he is still going to lose that 4th hatchery.
Yeah, not the entire force of Dark was fighting in this fight because he was also attacking the hatchery, but he did manage to snipe it, so in the end it does work out for him.
Yeah, while all of this is going on, he finished up that lurker den. He's now getting his hive. This is a massive victory for Dark. RagnaroK either has to be very, very greedy and double expand, or he has to go for a counterattack and reciprocate damage. Yeah.
The lurker then his eyes.
It does. It does! And that's the mouth with the teeth.
Oh, it looks so silly. I just noticed that. I don't think those are actual eyes, by the way, but it looks like it.
Those are eyes. You have to wonder what happens to the drone's eyes when they morph into something, you know?
They just pop out on the building.
Yeah. That's the evolution, yeah. Put googly eyes on that. I need someone to take a screenshot and like put googly eyes on that.
Fitting. As we have first lurkers morphing, and we'll see if RagnaroK is prepared for them. There are no overseers with this army so far, and he's attacking straight into the base.
Yeah, this is a little bit much for RagnaroK. He's trying to fight this army head on, and to be fair, he does seem to have a higher army supply than Dark does, but Dark has a better positioning. He had the defender's advantage, and towards the end there, he did have that lurker too. GG is called, and Dark will be able to take game number 1.
GG.
GG.
I think it might have been when RagnaroK saw that his army isn't really getting any advantage, and then he saw the lurker, and he's like, yeah nah, we're not doing this.
Yeah, nah. I can't. Yeah. Yeah, nah. But yeah, honestly, pretty interesting to see how closely they mirrored each other in game number 1 and I almost say game number 1 and game number 2, but we've only had game number 1, and I'm curious to see if that will continue onto game number 2 as curious mind. Wait, what? That's not the map? That's not even in the map pool. Royal blood? What? Okay, apparently my pun didn't work out.
I'm shaking my head.
So we're getting into royal blood for game number 2, and I'm wondering if this dichotomy or if this dynamic is going to continue. That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Unity Games disappointed in me. Unity Games disappointed in me, like, yeah, we're going to increase your load time just because of that, you know?
Yeah.
This'll give you time to sit and think in silence.
Think about what you said.
Before we can get into this, you know, make sure you learn your lesson before you cast this game, you know. Okay, game. I learned my lesson. I don't think you have. I'm going to keep this delay until you learn your lesson. I'm pretty sure I learned it, game. No. No. But yeah, I guess this does give us a little bit of time to take a little look-see here at the rest of the bracket if Google Chrome. Okay, never mind. We're not going to be looking at the rest of the bracket for the time being. We're going to sit here in silence and think about what we've done. What I've done, really.
Yeah, I like that silence. There's no even music, no nothing, just silence.
Yeah. Welcome to loading screens, you know? Welcome to loading screens as yeah, we were touching a little bit on it as we were getting into game number 1, but you know, RagnaroK, even fairly recently, has been able to take games and even series off of Dark. He really looked like he was improving a lot, which again is why I and plenty of viewers and players as well were surprised that he actually failed to qualify for GSL this season. But now we're gonna see what he has in store, what he has when he goes against a GSL caliber player. Spawning over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, all the way in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing DragonKy Z Gaming, DKG. We have Dark.
And the bottom left of Royal Blood, we have our loser player representing Alpha X and the land of Korea. It is RagnaroK.
I've thought about what I've done, game. I won't do it again.
Will you? You won't, will
you? But speaking of what we've done, yeah, my eyes are just glued on the production tab this time because we know that we were talking about how RagnaroK, you know, he's a big brain Zerg. He does crazy stuff. He pulls out whatever and it works out. But Dark, specifically in ZvZ, you know, he isn't averse to throwing out spine crawler rushes, 12 pool spine crawler rushes, or I guess all spine crawler rushes are 12 pools by definition, but you know, 6-minute infestation pits and what have you. Loves to be aggressive as possible in the early game. Oh, those are some bleachers and a painting.
This looks like a painting of like skyscrapers.
It is. I think that was in the one of the Heart of Swarm cinematics, actually. In one of the Core Hall, I think it's a planet. You know, one of the missions where you're fighting Terran.
Why are the benches on top of this? Oh, I guess
That's
there is
what
a
I
ladder.
wanted. How do people get in?
There is a ladder.
There is a ladder. Oh, okay. So if people were, you know, strolling around and they get tired, they climb up the ladder.
Yeah.
And they have a rest on the benches, you know?
Yeah, that's what you do when you're tired, you climb up a ladder.
Yeah. As we see pretty much mirrored builds once again from our players. Dark harassing a third base, seeing what he can get away with. The answer is not a whole lot, but at least he confirms that there is a third base. Whatever I just said about Dark, apply that to RagnaroK as well, because that's how mirrored they're playing right now.
Yeah, I find it really funny because, I mean, I'm sure this is like a meta thing that like, oh yeah, this is how you play ZvZ. But it's just funny that like they would like almost perfectly mirror each other. Where like, you know, the timing slightly differ, but like the general build is pretty much the same.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they were like talking beforehand and be like, "Yo, so I'm just gonna do this, wink, wink," and Dark's like, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna do this, wink, wink," and so they didn't expect them to actually carry it out.
No.
It's like the Spider-Man meme, you know?
No, I think it may just be like, oh yeah, this is the way to play ZvZ, so they just play it that way.
Yeah, well, I could believe that for other Zerg players, but again,
Fair.
I feel like this is how you play ZvZ. Words that Dark and RagnaroK typically ignore.
I mean, fair point.
Or advice that they typically ignore. As both of them get their Roach Warrants, and both of them get Carapace, you know?
Mm-hmm. Is this why Has started playing macro?
I would not be surprised, yeah. I would not be surprised, yeah. One day you just wake up and you figure out this is not how... Wait. This is how you play ZvZ. Except Has plays Protoss, so... Yes, we got a couple of a gun store coming out here in Royal Blood.
Why is there a gun store right there?
Why are there benches and umbrellas outside the gun store?
Yeah, I have some
so
questions.
Yeah, day relax outside the gun store, put your feet up, you know?
I mean, to be fair, I'm sure that exists, but...
Hey, it's where you want to go to relax, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure.
You feel safe there. As one of our players are not halting on the aggression this time. Lings are moving across the map from Dark, and RagnaroK is here to meet them with Lings of his own as well as Roaches because of the rushes of Royal Blood. You can see how quickly Dark is able to march his Roaches across the map, and he draws first blood. He is able to distract the majority of RagnaroK's army. These Banelings are looking for a connection. Eventually, this is going to get cleaned out. Eventually, RagnaroK is going to chase the main army of Dark away, but 5 drones do go down to the Banelings.
I mean,
not as bad as it could have been here for RagnaroK.
Yeah, like look at the drones. Like a lot of them are damaged, but they were split out. So I think the damage could have been much worse for RagnaroK. But in the end, 5 drones go down.
Yeah, actually catches back up in terms of the and overtakes Dark slightly in terms of the worker supply now. But it does mean that he was spending that larva on workers instead of units, and we can see Dark is gonna be shooting up in terms of the army supply pretty shortly.
I thought you were gonna say we can see Dark is doing exactly the same thing as RagnaroK. He's getting his upgrades, he's getting his lair.
Look, don't draw attention to what the players are actually doing, you know? I have a narrative that I'm gonna be pushing, but yeah, our players are kind of mirroring each other still.
It's just so funny. It's like like we keep saying like, yeah, they're this very creative player. Yeah, they bring all these beers and they do exactly the same thing. Okay.
It's not even just exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same standard thing. This is about as meta as you can get here in a ZvZ.
Look, when you're facing a strong opponent, like you might as well like play standard, play safe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's one way of looking at it. It depends on how much a gambler you are, I guess, because there are some players who have said, if I'm playing against a player who I know I have the advantage against, I'm gonna play standard because I know I can just beat him straight out. But if I'm the underdog, I'm just gonna try my luck. I'm just gonna try my luck and hope that this cheese build works out.
But once again, we see the difference in builds, and once again, RagnaroK is going for those dropper lords.
Yeah, this time with a much crisper timing, IMO, and this time with 2 drop lords full of Banelings instead of just 1.
But look at the vision from Dark. There are just overlords patrolling everywhere.
Pretty much. What else are you gonna do with overlords on Royal Blood, you know?
I mean...
There's no Spire. You don't have to keep them at home.
Yeah, one of the overlords gets shooed away. The army tries to poke in, but they don't get anything. The other overlord is gonna... Oh! It almost flew straight into the bars, but it will be taken down. Or will it?
The Dropper Lord is so low, but it won't be taken down. Unfortunately for RagnaroK, he is forced to drop his Banelings a little bit outside of range, but thankfully for RagnaroK, there were no defenses here anyway. All 4 Banelings connect, and he takes out 8 drones. We can really see that reflected in the mineral income of Dark and RagnaroK right now.
The Overlord came back as well, and in total we have 12 drones going down, as well as a bit of a harassment from the roaches on the other side, and now the rest of the army of RagnaroK is ready.
Yeah, he's fully maxed out. He is looking to press his advantage and end the game, or at least kill a base.
But he's attacking right to the army of Dark, and we'll see if he has enough to overpower this. There are a lot of Ravagers here.
Yeah, it really did look like he had the higher supply, so I can't really blame him for trying to just bust on through and go for a full surround. Reinforcements are coming out right now for him, and he is starting to get that surround. A couple of transfuses are putting in work here for Dark. It is keeping this force alive, but this is such a bad position for our red Zerg player.
Yeah, but in the end, Dark has just barely enough to defend this. RagnaroK does have to back down, but I mean, it was a pretty decent fight for him. He did lose a lot, but he also took down the entire army of Dark.
Yeah, he lost a lot, but he also killed a lot, so
yeah,
it worked out for him.
They were pretty
somewhat
even, yeah, because they are mirrored.
Exactly, you know. And they're even throwing down contaminations at the same base.
Are they?
This is... They did, yeah. They did earlier on. Oh my... This... The Overmind is back, is what I'm gonna say about this. The Overmind is back in Korea.
True. The Zergs are playing the same. They're playing because the Overmind told them to play like this.
Exactly. That Overmind named, I don't know.
No,
Jake.
he's not named.
No regrets.
Overmind. Nobody knows the name.
That's just his title. Yeah. It's all of them together. You thought it was a Cabal, it was an Overmind, and you thought that this was going to be the end here for Dark, but apparently not, as the reinforcements, the Ravagers, morph in just in the nick of time. Dark is able to chase us back. He's behind on upgrades and a little bit behind when it comes to the army supply, but man, that positioning and that defensive advantage was exquisite here from Dark. Is able to survive yet another swarm of roaches and ravagers coming out from RagnaroK, and now RagnaroK is thinking for himself. Now RagnaroK is thinking, how can I switch things up? How I'm gonna get Aspire, as these overlords are just yeah, very orderly. That's what I'll say.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. This is
yeah.
I like the intense music in the background. It's just overlords on the patrol.
What are they called? The carousels? Yeah, this is the Overlord carousel. For luggage. If they were Dropper Lords, it would be more fitting. You know, luggage, yes. But yeah. Anyway, what were we saying? Ah, yes. Alright, we got a huge divergent now from our player Spire, coming out from RagnaroK, and I'm not sure if Dark was able to scout this. Now he should have with this changeling, but he is going for a infestation pit as well as a Hydra Den. Does a Hydra Den have eyes?
Kind of.
Maybe.
It's like these three thingies. So this is a different skin.
They look more like freckles to me. Yeah, this is a different skin.
It's this skin. It's the one this skin. Has eyes.
Yeah, the like what's it called? The budget Zerg skin.
So there's something happening
Zerg.
that we're not looking at.
No, it was just
what did that kill?
Yeah. His either his Roachworn or an Evo chamber. Yeah, it was an Evo chamber.
But why?
Because you know it was blocking.
Okay. It didn't like the design.
That's what I'm assuming anyway. Yeah.
It's disturbing the
feng shui was off. You know. Yeah. Had to make sure he had the good energy. And speaking of good energy, RagnaroK.
This Overlord scouted the base.
Throws out a 5th base that unfortunately does get fully scouted, and he is looking to attack he's not looking to kill or cripple Dark here with this push. He just wants to make sure that Dark is on his side of the map, is unable to really punish that third base. But yo, if he can get a win here, he will secure a victory. Unfortunately, RagnaroK miscalculated a little bit. He committed to that fight, and he is losing every single Roach and Ravager.
Yeah, and looks like now, like, the last few fights looked pretty even, but now it looked like Dark has much more force than RagnaroK does, and with the help of Hydras from the back as well, he was able to overpower this army, and he's going for a counterattack.
Yeah, might as well. Mutalisks are now popping out, and that can at least help with the Ravagers. A lot of Mutalisks are coming out now, actually. I really thought Dark was going to be able to kill that base, but when this many Mutalisks and that many Roaches and Ravagers, you do have to wait for your Hydralisks to get in position.
Well, he snipes
so I thought.
He snipes the base anyway, as the Hydras are still on their way. A few of them were already sniped. There's not quite enough of them to fight the Mutas, but with the reinforcements there should be enough to clean it up.
I like to imagine that that was a bait from Dark. He sent out a small force of Hydras to make RagnaroK think that the Mutas could fight them, and then the reinforcements come down. In reality, it was probably just him parade pushing, but you know, it worked out for him.
Hello.
Oh, Mr. Lurker's back. Hello, I'm Mr. Lurker.
This looks exactly like the Carbot animation one. Oh my god.
Look at that!
I can't.
I researched talents for you! Ho ho! Thank you, Mr. Lurker, then.
You're welcome.
Anyway. RagnaroK is pushing in this location once again. He doesn't like to push in any other location, just this one. And it, once again, will not work out for him. GG is called. Dark takes that series 2-0. Very, very well played here from Dark. That series wasn't necessarily one-sided, but if I'm being honest, I was kind of expecting it to be closer than it actually was. And again, not a completely one-sided series, but
you say closer, but I mean,
well, how much more close can you get than just completely mirroring each other, I guess.
Yaku, what is the next opponent for Dark?
Ooh, we have seen this multiple times in the past. Every single time. I don't know how this happens. We're getting a team kill now. We're going back into the ZVPs. We are jumping into Kuro versus Dark.